back in a small clearing at the edge of the yard. It dropped mottled green fruit from late summer up until the beginning of October, my birthday. Mom told me those apples were wild and not for eating, but I ate them anyway. Each time, I was startled by their bright sourness, the starchy feeling they left behind on my tongue. Sarah Nan and I played in the tree, shimmying up the branches to pick the littlest fruits for our American Girl dolls. I always thought of that tree as mine. Technically, though, as Mom later told me, it's in the part of the woods that belongs to the Hankmans. I hadn't known the woods were anyone's. I thought they were just woods. As the sprinkler water soaks through to my skin, I run alongside a stone wall that has rocks set upright like spikes along the cement trim. Who do they think is going to sit there? And why do they care? Maybe our wall should have had spikes. After the wall ends, I turn onto cedarwood, then pleasant, then I stop. Dead end. The neighborhood that we moved to, across town from our old one, is an offshoot of the area known as the Maze. The winding, illogical streets are meant to discourage cut-throughs, and, as one neighbor told us when she came by with a welcome basket, to prevent home invaders from getting away. She probably wasn't thinking what would happen if the invader lived next door. I stand at the dead-end street, catching my breath. Maybe I should turn back. Maybe I don't need to go all the way there. When we moved, the apples were still hard green marbles. By now, they'll have grown big enough to wrap my hand around, but won't be ready yet for picking. I always felt like that tree knew me, like we knew each other. But after what happened with Mr. Hankman and my mom, I wasn't allowed to go back in the woods anymore. I didn't get to say goodbye. I turn around and try again. I trace my previous path, trying to look like I know where I'm going as I remember the steps. The automatic sprinklers, the aggressive stone wall, the house where the dog jumps out. The dog jumps out, a beagle type that scares me 3 feet off the sidewalk. No, I say in my best firm voice, which isn't very firm. One time, I got bitten by a dog. It was a tall gray one that tugged its owner over to me as James and I were walking home from sledding behind the high school. "Someone wants to say hello," the owner said, so I reached out. And that dog chomped straight down on my hand. Fortunately, I was wearing mittens, but I could still feel the teeth digging into the soft spaces between my knuckles. "Ha! Ouch," I said, while the owner said, "Leave it," and pulled him off. James didn't even realize I'd been bitten until after, when I pulled off the mitten and we saw the skin already turning purple. "Lizzie, why didn't you say something?" he demanded. He wanted to go back and find the dog walker, but I wouldn't let him. Finally, he sighed and took my sled so I wouldn't have to carry it. As I cradled my injured hand in my opposite elbow, I reasoned I was the one who had reached out. So when the dog bit me, it was my fault. Now that I'm back on track and the barking has faded away, it's easy. A long stretch of downhill sidewalk, and I'm out of the maze, a block away from Main Street. The traffic picks up as I jog past the cemetery and library and village diner, where James used to take me for waffles on Wednesday mornings when he had first period study hall. At a crosswalk, I get to rest. The telephone pole has a sign taped to it. Wendover Community Center, registration now open for fall classes. Fall already. Where did the summer go? There's a honk. A car is waiting for me. I wave, though I would rather have waited until no one was there. As I jog across, it feels like that car and all the cars behind it are watching me in my orange mesh shorts. A few more blocks, and I'm in a residential neighborhood again. My old neighborhood. Down the hill, around the corner, onto Deerfield Circle, and my feet stop moving. I stand across the street and look. There's our wall, with one stone upside down.